the mirror of silence, from wounding loneliness to structuring solitude. Who among us has not faced the deafening echo of their own silence? A silence that, instead of calming, agitates, instead of filling, reveals an uncomfortable void. Who, even surrounded by voices and presences, has never felt the cold stab of disconnection, of the most intimate loneliness? These are known territories of the human soul, experiences that confront us with our own existence. However, it is vital, almost a matter of emotional survival, to learn to navigate these waters. For there is a universe of difference between the loneliness that imprisons us in dungeons of anguish and the solitude that invites us to discover the vast and fertile fields of our being. And the question that hovers, urgent and personal, is, today, in this instant, in which of these realities do you truly dwell? Loneliness, in its most painful manifestation, is a state of mind that drains, that corrodes. It is not just the physical absence of others, it is the visceral sensation of emotional isolation, of non-belonging, of being a dissonant note in a melody that does not include you. It is a mute cry for connection, a hunger of the soul that seems insatiable. Let's think of the classic scenario of a Saturday night. For those entangled in the clutches of loneliness, the city lights, the laughter leaking from windows, the effusive updates on social media, all of this can turn into small daggers that wound self-esteem, that underline a supposed inadequacy. The phone remains silent. Plans do not materialize, or worse, the energy to seek them has been hijacked by apathy. The home, which should be a nest, becomes a cell, and every corner echoes absence. And what about the dreaded Sunday night anguish, that melancholic twilight which for many already carries a weight, but for the lonely individual swells, transforming into a dense shadow? It is the harbinger of another week, with its challenges and the prospect of facing the specter of disconnection once more. The silence of the night is not an invitation to rest, but an amplifier of insecurities, fears, and the deep sadness for bonds that feel absent or unattainable. It's like being adrift without a map, in a sea of internal uncertainties, yearning for a lighthouse that seems non-existent. This feeling, as American writer Thomas Wolfe well described, can be a terrible hunger, an insatiable desire for something that always seems out of reach. Loneliness, at this level, can easily slide into a depressive state, where self-image is distorted and hope fades. It is crucial, then, to demystify the idea of being alone. We live in a culture that often exalts hyperconnectivity, extroversion as the norm, and that, subtly or openly, can stigmatize those who appreciate or need moments alone. There seems to be a tacit pressure to always be engaged, always with someone. But we need to understand and internalize that being alone is not, in itself, a certificate of failure or social inadequacy. More than that, and here we touch upon a crucial point. Being alone is a structuring condition of life. Yes, structuring, because it is in the confrontation with our most intimate self, without distractions or social mirrors, that we have the opportunity to discover who we really are, what our contours are, our most authentic desires, our deepest fears, and our most resilient strengths. It is in this space that individuality can flourish. And it is precisely here that solitude enters the scene, not as an antonym for company, but as an antonym for loneliness. The difference is seismic Loneliness is the pain of absence, the feeling of lack. Solitude is the glory of presence, the presence of oneself. It is a deliberate choice, a conscious retreat to the inner sanctuary. While loneliness is a void crying out to be filled externally, solitude is a fullness that overflows from within. In solitude, silence transforms. It ceases to be threatening and becomes a confidant, a teacher. It allows us to hear the subtle melody of our intuition, to organize internal chaos, to process experiences and emotions. It is a fertile ground for creativity, for deep reflection, for the simple and pleasurable act of being. The Belgian-American writer May Sarton, in her Journal of a Solitude, captured this essence when she said, "Loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self." It is not about avoiding others, but about enriching oneself, to then share that richness more genuinely. Allow me a quick pause in our inner journey. If this content is resonating with you, if it's bringing some clarity or comfort, I would be immensely grateful if you could express it. Please give this video a like. It's a simple gesture, but it helps us a lot. And of course, subscribe to the channel. Your subscription is the fuel that allows us to continue producing materials like this, aiming to reach and assist more and more people. Share it with anyone you think might benefit from this conversation. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Recognizing the difference is the first step. If being alone brings you persistent anguish, a feeling of abandonment, a sadness that seems endless, and the sensation that something fundamental is missing, you are likely navigating the turbulent waters of loneliness. Your thoughts may fixate on the absence of connections, the feeling of exclusion, and the idea of spending time with yourself may seem like a burden. On the other hand, if moments of withdrawal are seen as a gift, an opportunity to recharge, to dedicate yourself to passions, to simply be at peace in your own company without the pressure to perform or the pain of others' absence, then you are experiencing solitude. You may have a rich social life, but you still value these intimate encounters with yourself as essential. As the American philosopher and writer Henry David Thoreau said after his experience at Walden Pond, "I never found a companion that was so companionable as solitude." So, how can we undertake the transformative journey from loneliness to solitude? It's not magic, but a conscious process that can be nurtured by therapeutic and self-knowledge strategies. Allow me to suggest 3 paths. The practice of mindfulness and self-observation. This is the art of turning inward and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. When loneliness strikes, instead of fleeing from it or being consumed by it, try to observe it. What physical sensations does it bring? What thoughts does it trigger? The simple act of naming, "This is loneliness, this is sadness," can create a space between you and the emotion, allowing you not to identify fully with it. Journaling is an excellent tool here. Write down your feelings, explore their origins, converse with yourself on paper. Intentional engagement with the self. Schedule time in your agenda for dates with yourself. Treat these moments with the same importance you would give to an appointment with someone else. What do you genuinely enjoy doing when you are alone? Rediscover old hobbies or explore new interests. It could be reading, painting, cooking a special meal for yourself, listening to an entire album attentively, learning something new online, walking in nature. The goal is to find pleasure and meaning in your own company, transforming time alone into an active and rewarding experience, not a passive and painful one. Cognitive reframing and challenging negative thoughts. Loneliness is often fueled by a critical inner voice that whispers negative narratives. Nobody cares about me. I'm destined to be alone. There's something wrong with me. Cognitive reframing, a technique from cognitive behavioral therapy, involves identifying these automatic negative thoughts, questioning their validity, and replacing them with more realistic and compassionate perspectives. Ask yourself, what is the evidence for this thought? Are there other ways to see this situation? What would I say to a friend who was thinking this way? Being kind to yourself in this process is fundamental. Remember the words of the Austrian poet Rainer Maria Rilke, who in his Letters to a Young Poet advised to love your solitude and bear the suffering it causes you with a melodious song. He intuited that even the initial discomfort of isolation could be the prelude to profound self-discovery and the flourishing of creativity, if faced with courage and openness. And here we return to the idea of the structuring condition of being alone. It is in this often feared space that we are confronted with our barest essence. Without social masks, without the roles we play for others, who are we? It is a mirror that does not lie. And facing this image, with all its lights and shadows, is what allows us to build an authentic and solid individuality. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre, although his phrase, "hell is other people," is often misinterpreted, touches on the complexity of relationships. However, another perspective, often attributed to him or to existential contexts, suggests, if you're lonely when you're alone, you're in bad company. This invites us to cultivate good inner company. Only when we feel comfortable and whole in our own skin, when we learn to be our own best friend, our confidant, and our safe harbor, can we truly find ourselves. Individuality is not forged in the constant noise of external approval, but in the revealing silence of self-encounter. It is a beautiful paradox. By embracing the ability to be well alone, we become more capable of connecting deeply with others, not out of need or lack, but out of a genuine desire to share the fullness that already resides within us. Therefore, if you find yourself today in the shadow of loneliness, know that this is not a final destination. It is a call, perhaps a painful one, to an inner journey, a journey of healing, of self-knowledge, and of rediscovery. Solitude is not the absence of love, but the presence of self-love, the foundation upon which all other loves can be healthily built. Allow yourself this dive. Allow silence to become your ally, your teacher. Because it is in the quietude of your own soul that you will find the answers, the strength, and the singular beauty that define who you are. And this discovery, this self-connection, is one of life's greatest gifts. And so we conclude our deep immersion into the universe of loneliness and solitude. I hope this chronicle has offered you new perspectives and perhaps a bit of solace and motivation. If you enjoyed this video, if it touched your heart or clarified your ideas, please don't forget to give it a like and, most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Your participation is vital for us to continue producing and sharing content that seeks to inspire and transform. Share this message with those you love. Thank you so much for your valuable company, and until our next meeting,